Hey guys, Nicetryian here, and welcome to my tutorial on how to create a League of Legends montage. Now in this video, I'm going to be going over Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere. I have to warn you guys, this isn't going to be a tutorial on how to create a video exactly like me. It's going to be strictly a tutorial on what I think is the best format for editing montages, whether it's going to be League of Legends or any other type of games. And in the description, I'm going to link you guys a few tools that every LOL montage creator should know about. Alright, so welcome to my tutorial. Let's get started. Open up Adobe Premiere. Now, a lot of you guys know that when I edit, I like to organize my gameplay based on the audio, and I like to sync my video and my audio together. And I think that's a very important concept because when you sync your music and your gameplay, it makes for such a much more impactful and engaging video than just to like compile a bunch of gameplay together and put a track behind it and hope that it's good. You know, that's not really the way to go. So when you open up the music, press Ctrl I, and let's look for the song that we're going to be using. And for this video, I'm going to be just using this as an example. The song's called Earth by K391. I've used this previously on a TSM video. So just click it and drag it to your timeline sequence. And we can kind of get a visual idea of what the song looks like. Hit sequence, sequence settings, custom, time frame 60 frames per second because I'm recording the gameplay at 60 frames and you want to match that together. So now what are these little things right here? These are markers. If you want to create one, just press M on your keyboard and you create a marker. Press M again. Now you can delete it. Now if you want to delete all the markers, just double click on your audio. It's going to bring up the source timeline. Clear all markers. Very simple. Let's just play back a short sequence of the song. So right here, this is a really good section to mark off. So first of all, let's put a marker right here. Holy shit, there we go. This is an ideal location to put a transition of some sort. Yeah, right? So let's listen again. There we go. Right? Sounds good, right? Because in this section, it transitions into the main part of the song. So there's like the intro sequence that transitions into the main part of the song. So let's look further down the audio waveform right here. This is a very suspect area. Obviously, this is probably a drop, right? Yeah, so it's a drop. So let's add some markers. Press M. Starts right here. Now, why do I add markers? Well, for one, let's just import a couple of gameplay. Let's just import this one right here, and let's look what happens when I import it to my timeline. It snaps into place. Now, if you remove snapping, it's going to be harder to kind of put it exactly where you want it. But if you make sure you have snapping on, now it snaps into place. So it's going to make your editing process a lot easier. Now, I want to show you what I did in the TSM video that I made. So I'm going to import, I'm just going to drag it to my timeline, remove the original audio, and just watch what happens in the parts where I made a transition. Now, if you press Ctrl tilde, which is right next to the number 1, you can maximize the video preview. And that's what I did. So now let's go through the next mark section. as you can see, that's what I mean by syncing the audio and the video together. You want to make an engaging video for your viewers, so you want to sync as much possible. You just don't want to combine gameplay after gameplay after gameplay and not have any thought behind it and just put a random EDM track. That's boring. I'm going to segue this into the next thing, which is basically which plays to use. So when you open up a video, you don't want to get bombarded with intense teamfight gameplay right away. You want to ease your viewers into your video. So what I mean is, when you choose your plays, so this would be a great example. This would be a great example of a play to use in the beginning. So let's just see what kind of play it is. Now, as you can see, it's just a one-on-one between Rengar and Aurelia. Now, in this part, it's got transition, and this part is like the beginning of the main part. So we can start with another play that's easy to read. And then as the song gets more interesting, it drops. Okay, so maybe here I'll do like a team fight that's more complex. So if it's an exciting part of the song, let's put exciting gameplay. If it's a slow part of the song, let's put a play that's cool but easy to read. So let's just open up a current project I am working on. It is Masters of Z2. And let's take a look. So this is what my timeline looks like. This is just clips that I put together and I cut them up and I just organize. This is what pre-After Effects timeline looks like. There's nothing crazy going on. It's just gameplay, and these empty parts right here, I've designated this black area to have transitions. So these are obviously going to be transitions. I just kind of use this as a placeholder, which I will edit later on. So that is the gist of kind of organizing your gameplay together. And you always want to maximize the effect of syncing your audio and your video to organize things. And I'm going to see you guys in the next section where I will be talking about more so transitions. Let's just create another sequence, but first let's import some gameplay. I'm just going to import all the gameplay that Frapzik sent me. Okay. New sequence from clip, and then just make sure the sequence is at 60 frames, which it is. We're just going to cut the clip so it ends and then it's as short as possible. Okay, and then let's get clip number 2. And this play, Rengar does a Mad Life. Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just do a transition from here to here. I think 1 second long is fine. So this is how I do my transitions. I just select both clips, click on one, shift click on the other, Control C to copy, open up After Effects, make sure you have a composition. Just a composition, new composition. It's very simple. Control V, and you're gonna paste it right on After Effects with the exact same lengths. That's important, and that's why I like using both Adobe products, is because they integrate well on each other. Okay, so now we have both clips. What I'm doing is keyframe animation. This is just a very basic linear wipe. Okay, so let's expand the transform. Click on this thing right here on position. Press U to collapse it, accept the keyframe you're animating, and go over here and just put minus 960. And then over here, same thing, position, except it ends at 960 and it starts at 2880. That's the coordinates you need for a basic linear transition. I'm I'm going to turn off the audio because that sounds really bad. But that's a basic linear transition. Now, we don't want to just keep it like this because it's a very linear speed, and frankly, it's way too long. So we can change the speed, make it more dynamic. Just select all the keyframes, right-click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, or you can just press F9. Now you can see that it's more, it's not so linear. It starts off slow, it goes faster, then ends slow. But what I want to do is I want to make it start really fast and end really slow. So what I did there is I selected all the easy ease clips. You have to make sure that it's been easy eased. Graph editor, highlight the points, and then just drag this to the left side. Make sure you're not, moving anything except to the left side. What this basically means is it starts off fast, then it ends slow. So now you have a more dynamic transition that looks a lot better. Now we're just going to add one more thing. Just go to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, right-click on it, Blur, Directional Blur, set it to 90 degrees because the movement is sideways. And you're just going to animate the keyframes. Blur Length, press U, it's going to pop up. And set the end to 0. And then let's take a look at where the highest point of its speed, which is right here. And then we're going to set this point to 75. I think that's a good blur. And it's going to blur. But it's not totally right because it shouldn't be this blurry when it's slowed down. So we're going to fix that. Just F9 and everything. And same thing. We're going to drag this to the left. And let's see what that looks like now. Okay, so let's change this. Oops. Okay. So that looks fine. I still feel like it should slow down faster, so I'm just gonna manually type in 10. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so it looks fine, right? It's just a basic linear transition. If you want to go in another direction, you just change the position coordinates and you can make it longer. And I'm sure there are plugins or whatever fill effects and presets that you can use, but it's important that you do this manually so you get a better understanding, because just by showing you this basic transition, now you know keyframe animation. You know how to keyframe animate different types of dynamic speeds and velocity. And that's a very important mechanic to know about After Effects. So I'm just gonna take this one step further. I'm gonna delete everything in this composition, and I'm just going to import the same to place. I don't really need to show you a different example. But remember how last time it was only 1 second? Let's shoot for around a little bit under 2.5 seconds now. Okay. So it starts off with the Irelia outplay, then it goes into the Mad Life play. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these two clips and make its own layer. So Control-Shift-D. Control-Shift-D will cut a clip to where it's whatever your timeline cursor is at. Same thing. Now this is number 1, this is first, and then it goes to second, and then it goes to the Mad Life. So let's just make sure we know that. So highlight both of them, right click, pre-compose. You can just give this a name, transition. Now you double click it. Oh, and make sure when you pre-compose, it's move all attributes into the new composition. If you select this here, it won't be right. And also you can check this up too also. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to select Effects, Distort, Displacement Map. We're going to set both settings to 0 for now. And because we're gonna make this a left to right, right to left transition, we're gonna be messing with the max horizontal displacement. We're gonna set that from red to full. We're gonna leave green by we're just gonna leave that there. And then we're gonna check this wrap pixels around. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna do this. And I know you guys have seen this effect. I've used it in a double F video. I used it in the Rengar video actually. So just click on that, expand it, press U. Now we're gonna go to the end, and let's go for like 5 wipes. So 1. If you hold a shift while you're moving this, it's gonna move faster. See, watch. If you go just no shift, it's gonna move in increments of 1. If you hold shift, it's gonna go in increments of 10. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to do 5. You can do whatever you want. It's your video. Now, as you can see, it's gonna wipe 5 times. We're gonna do the same thing last time. F9, graph editor, and let's start off really slow and end really fast. So let's see how that looks. Make sure to turn off the audio because when it's being played back in After Effects, it's not going to be like a normal speed audio. It's going to be, what do you call it, slowed down, so it's not going to sound good. So at the height of its speed is right here, right? So we're going to go and click on that, Shift 1, let's just put a little marker, and then we're going to go to transform on the Aurelia outplay. We're going to keyframe the opacity. So it starts off at 100 and then it ends at 0 right here. This is when the transition is at its peak in speed. So now what happens is at this part, it's going to transition here, and there's a lot of movement, so you won't really notice. Now in the double F video, I actually didn't do it this way. It took me 3 hours long. I basically made an entire huge sequence of pictures moving. Now it just takes me like 10 minutes. So it's just a testament to just knowing what you're doing. When you have more experience, you can just basically experiment. It's kind of like playing music by ear. When you hear something, you just know how to play it just because you have experience and you know how to play all these notes. Same thing, when you have a lot of experience in After Effects, you just kind of just know how to do stuff when you look at it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, where I see like an effect on TV and I know how to do it because I've been editing for so long now. Now, the only thing really left you have to do is just, you know, add a motion blur. Blur, directional blur, set it to 90, same thing. 0 ends here, 0, its height of speed, let's look at that again, right here. Okay, that's fine. We could put that to 75, could be more, could be less, depending on how you want to do it. It's your video, it's not my video. And let's just do the same thing and do that. See what happens. Okay. If you want it to load faster, you can just set it to full to half. If you want to, if you don't have a good computer to, because you're basically having to render this all stuff. Okay, so that's basically what happens. So that's pretty much it. These are just the transitions I want to show you. And you know, obviously you don't have to go left to right, right to left. You can go up, down, sideways. Like hell, you could even like rotate. Like you see the rotation right here, you can rotate, I don't know. Change the anchor point right here. You can like, I don't know, man, rotate this. Like hell man, you can like, the next one comes up from the bottom also. Like there's plenty of ways to do transitions, and you know, I'm just scratching the surface for you guys, and I'm gonna segue into the next section, which is all right guys, so we're gonna go to color correction, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I do to color my videos. Well, actually I'm probably gonna change it up a bit because once I tell people what I do, they're gonna copy it, and I always want it to be a little bit different. So I'm just gonna show you what I do because I'm basically gonna retire it anyway. Control I, let's just import a random play. This is by Tingus, who I did a Kazakh's collaboration with. Now, first thing I want to do is just do layer new adjustment layer. Okay, I like to keep my colors in a separate layer. You can also do it on the clip, but it's just easier for me. Rename it to CC, color correction, and then here's what I do. Okay, so I just go to color correction, brightness and contrast, set that to 20, set that to 40, and that's halfway of what I do. Like literally, I just keep it as simple as possible. Okay, color correction, and go to color mixer, and go 80, 20. That's it. Okay. You can also, I used to do this also 50-50, gives it this kind of hue. I used to do that, but 20-80 and maybe 90-10, keeping it a little bit close to Summoner's Rift as possible. That's basically all I do. So if you want to mess around with colors, curves is your best friend. And essentially what curves is, right here in the graph, lighter colors, darker colors. So if you increase the lights and reduce the darks, you're going to get a higher contrast. So if we switch RGB to red, we can mess around with the red colors. There we go. Lack of red. Okay, so let's find a cool color we can mess around with. Let's see. I like the highs, the lighter colors are going to be bluish, and we're going to lower the darkers. We're going to lower the blues and the darker colors. Okay, now let's go to green. This is actually kind of funny. This is starting to look like Potato Monster's color correction. How about let's do this? Okay, let's increase the greens. So the lights are going to have that green tint now. That's pretty cool, actually. This is a really cool color. It's a little bit dark though, so let's kind of brighten it up a bit. Right there, and I kind of want to it looks like it's like dawn. I kind of want to make it brighter during the day, so probably like a blue hue, a light blue. We can also add another curves. Go to blue. There we go. See, this looks cool. I found this out just by messing around with curves. The colors are a little strong, so what I can do is color correction, go to hue and saturation. I'm just going to lower the saturation a bit. Maybe like 15, minus 15. The colors seemed a little strong to me. But this is just a simple way to kind of get the colors right. And it has this one has a really unique color. It's a little bit different from the Summoner's Rift, which I like to keep it as similar as possible. But this is good. It's not too different. It doesn't look crazy. And this is nice. I don't know. Should I? I mean, I'll show you guys so you can kind of see what I did. So these are the settings. Brightness 20, contrast 40, curves 1, the blues right here, the red straight, and then this is what I did. You can kind of just I guess take a picture, and then once you have it, you can save it so you don't have to do it every time. You highlight everything, animation, save animation preset, color correction, and voila, we have our own color correction. We can just delete it, animation, apply animation preset, color correction. I have a bunch of others here too. Kazakhs. This is a CC I have. It's kind of cool because the greens have like a bright color to it, and it's, I don't know, I like this color. I might use this actually. Maybe the Z video will use it. All right, so I'm gonna go into the next section, which will be motion tracking. So I'll see you guys there. All right guys, welcome to the section. We're gonna be talking about motion tracking, and all you need to do is open up After Effects and import some gameplay. I'm just gonna import a random gameplay here, and I'm just gonna drag it into a composition. Just right click, new comp from selection. Now all you need to do is create a new null object. Make sure this is on full. It's a lot easier to motion track if it's on full. And make sure you're clicked on the gameplay layer and just click motion tracking right here. Now it's going to bring up its source layer, and all you have to do is set it to wherever you want to track. I think this is the best thing to track if you want the champion's movements. So just put it on the level bar on the number right here. And all you need to do is analyze 1 frame forward. Or you can just analyze forward. As you can see, it's going to follow that little bar. Now, if there's any sudden movements, it's going to mess it up because we just don't have the technology to analyze that kind of dynamic movement. So when there is really crazy movement, you just have to manually do it. So when there's a really crazy gameplay going on, like Katarina just ward hopping everywhere, it's going to take you a long time. But if it's simple movement, it's going to be fairly easy to motion track. You just have to analyze it automatically. But if there's movement like this where Rengar is auto attacking off a bush and he's going to jump, you're going to have to motion track it this way. But once you've finished the endpoint, you just edit target, make sure it's set to the null object, and hit apply. Okay. Now if you click on the null object and you press U, it's going to expand its keyframes. So these are the frames that are motion tracked. So let's say you want an icon to be over his head. Let's just see. Let's just, I don't know, just pretend that it's Flash. Just put it over his head. And then parent this to the position. Parent this to the null. So now it's going to move around with him. It's going to stop right here, see? It's going to jump off. But right here, it's going to move out. So like what I did is, I keyframe animated this. You guys already know how to do this. Scale at 100, starts at 0, F9, you guys already know this. Bam. And you can just Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V, and Control C, Control V. So now that's the gist of motion tracking. It's fairly easy, fairly simple. Once you've figured out how to do it, it's easy. And I don't know, we can add a little border, a white border, perspective, drop shadow, set that to white, opacity to 100%, distance. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong. Okay, right here. Distance, I don't know, 3. We can duplicate that. This to 0, 90, minus 90, 180, and you can have like a border now. Okay, this is going to be the last section I'm going to be making for this tutorial, and what I'm going to be doing is making a title screen or a title transition, whatever you want to call it. So essentially what this sequence is going to be is gameplay transitions into the introduction or title screen. So first thing, After Effects, Control I, let's import a couple of gameplay we can use. Okay, so let's just use Rengar again, and let's just import 2 clips. Now I don't need to use the majority of the clip. I just need to use the beginning of the clip and the end of a clip. And let's make our intro about 5 seconds long. So 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just do 4 seconds. Shouldn't be that long. So what we're going to do is create a new solid, title, and we are going to change the duration of this right here. Okay. Now, well, what's going to happen is this is going to transition into the title. So I need some overlap. About a 30-second overlap. I mean, half a second overlap should be good. Less than half a second. It's going to be a quick. So it's going to go gameplay, title, gameplay, and it should be very simple. So what I want to do first is I want to pre-compose this to its own layer. And I want to move all attributes into the composition and make sure you have this box checked out. Now I'm going to double click on this, and then we're going to work on the title on here. Now, how do we create a title? First of all, a lot of people send me a lot of work. And the really bad thing, or the really recurring thing, sorry, that a lot of people send me is something like this. This is their intro, and Rengar Master XX. And it's right here. Rengar Master XD. Okay, cool. And it's in Arial. And this is what their beginning of their video looks like. And I have to say, it's very low effort. Please look for a better font than Arial. Okay, so let's create something cool. And what I'm gonna do is import a wallpaper. I really like this one wallpaper. I can't find it though. It's here somewhere, but it's a Jinx wallpaper. There it is, number 50. I don't know who the artist is, or I guess it's KNCL or 15. I don't know where her links are or his links are, but I found this on a website and they didn't really give credit to the original source, so I just have this wallpaper. And if you guys know who did it, please let me know. So I know it's a Rengar clip, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to use this wallpaper. And so we're going to make an intro using this wallpaper. So first of all, what we're going to do is create a title. Since this is a Jinx wallpaper, we're going to make a Jinx title just as an example. Obviously, the gameplay is Rengar, but this is just an example for the sake of the video. Challenger Jinx montage. Challenger Jinx. How about that? League of Legends montage. Let's just align this real quick. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna the leading text, we're gonna turn this into Bebas New. Let's kind of increase the size, make sure this is 0, and we're gonna change this into Monster Rat. There it is. We're going to make this unbolded while the Bebas New font is bolded. And we're going to reduce this a little bit. I don't know, let's make it kind of match. I kind of want to match the width of both texts. So let's kind of reduce this a little bit more. Move it higher, and let's realign this. Now, having the proper typography can make your title look a ton better. So the reason why this typography pairing looks good is that the heading text is tall and thick while it's contrasted by its subtext, which is Monster Rat, and it's shorter and it's more condensed. So there's a very nice contrast between these two texts. Don't just use this, I'll go through and learn typography, look at tutorials, look at which pairings look good. There's plenty of different fonts out there that you can use. This is just something that I came across and I really like. Now we have our text and we have our wallpaper. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a camera layer, okay? And then we're gonna create another null layer. So now we talked about the null object layer. So we're gonna create that and a camera, and we're gonna turn these 3 into 3D layers. We can actually delete this right here, but we're gonna turn everything into a 3D layer, and we're gonna parent our camera to our null. So what that does is when we change the position of the null, every 3D layer is gonna follow suit. So just a few more things you can do. We're gonna take our text and we're gonna decrease its z-axis. So it's closer to us now. We're gonna reduce it to like 90%. That should be fine. Maybe change its anchor layer and put it back straight. So now look what happens when we change the null. Now you can tell that it's further closer when we have movement, and that's the parallax effect. So now we have this, and we have our 3D layer text. And now what else can we do to make this picture a lot nicer? We can go to the text, perspective, drop shadow, and then increase its softness, just so we can distinguish the text a lot better. So what we're going to do now is animate the position. Okay. So let's say this ends at 0, and then from 0 to here, well, actually right here. Let's increase it to around 60, so there's like a 60. It's kind of zooming out. I want more movement, so let's go like 168. So now it's moving backwards. And in here, let's go all the way in the front. Something crazy, okay. Now we're gonna animate these two. Okay, so let's just do this instead then. F9 both. And what we're gonna do is make it go fast and slow. Okay. That's not good. Let's see what happens is it rebounds, then it goes back. That's not good. Okay, so let's fix that. Highlight both of these keyframes. Keyframe interpolation. Spatial interpolation is linear. So now should fix that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is add a little bit of movement in the camera. Alt the position. Oh, sorry. Alt and click here. Then we're going to write wiggle in the script box. Let's do 5 and 5. Now it's going to give us a little bit of a dynamic. It's going to give us a little bit of a wiggle movement. Let's see here. I don't know. I want to. The first 5 is frequency, and then the second 5 is the amount of pixels. I want to do 2.5 actually. Okay, let's do that. 2.5 and 5. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what else can we do to make this a little better? We can add a motion blur. So let's create a new layer and rename this to blur layer. Blur, CC radial blur, zoom, amount, set that to 0 where it ends. And let's start this at 50. Select it, press F9, and let's mess with the graph editor. Remember, it starts off fast and it ends slow, so this should look good. Okay, now there's motion blur. Now we can see what we can do now actually is you see how this zooms in? We can do the same thing here. So just make this into a 3D layer as well, and it zooms in. How about that? Not zoom out, zoom in. So let's see what that looks like. Gotta cut the audio. Probably needs to be quicker, obviously. So let's change the speed to match it with the zoom in. Still not the same. Maybe like that. Definitely needs to be faster. See? Zooms in, zooms out. It's a good transition. We could also add the radial blur here. Blur, CC radial blur, zoom, 0 to 50. There we go. There we go. So it has gameplay, transitions into title, and then we're just going to do a transition to the gameplay afterwards. And you already know how to do these transitions I showed you previously. Remember, -960. And then here, position to 880. Then highlight, F9. What we can do is just add a motion blur on top of it, and we should be fine. Okay. Now we have a good title sequence. Let's play it back. Let's set this to half, just so it plays back a lot faster. So you have the Rengar transitions to the title. It's a little long. Well, I forgot to tell, yeah, After Effects isn't in real time, so this isn't in real time. So that was it. It's just a very basic intro. And just doing a couple of things, having a parallax depth, having the right typography can make your video a lot better. So that's pretty much the end of my tutorial, guys. I hope you learned something. And remember, if you want to get good at anything, you really have to immerse yourself in the field that you want to get good in. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.